mentioned African Union. Are you expecting them to be officially made members this weekend, or are they just going to be an invitation to join? Because the last reports we had from the region was they hadn't received any invitation to come here already.
Okay. First, for the emerging countries, I don't think that this G20 will resolve in 2 days all the problems of the world and all the challenges of the world. But I think it can be a bold step in the right direction, and we should work to make it happen and to support the Indian presidency. And this is how the EU is considering its role in the multilateral approach. Point one, a concrete example. For many years, I participated in multilateral meetings. The 100 billion pledge for climate, especially for the most vulnerable countries, probably this year, in 2023, we will succeed to fulfill this promise. And it's urgent to fulfill this promise. It shows a clear and a concrete commitment. And on the EU side, for many years, we have been able to fulfill our promise, and we are very pleased that some other countries are now making the step, which is extremely important. This is something which have an effect for those countries.
As you mentioned, we don't see the leaders of China and Russia here today, and as you said, there's more difficulty perhaps this year to reach an accord. And we also see China and Russia working together in different fora, BRICS and SCO. Do you see that there's going to be a retreat, perhaps? Russia will be already isolated because China will retreat from fora, global fora. Is that going to play out at other forums as well? And secondly, if there's no defined communique, does that also leave African Union membership behind this year?
Yeah, again, for the communique, I don't need to add. I think that I said what I need to say for the final communique. Russia-China, in my opinion, there is something very clear. Is the fact that they are acting, how they are acting, Russia is isolating itself from the international community. When you have a permanent member of the Security Council, which had a decision to launch an attack, a war, which is a blatant violation of the UN Charter, this is not a detail. This is something really serious, and that's why we are reacting, being very united and very firm to support Ukraine and to condemn and to sanction Russia. And I told just before how on the EU side we see the relationships with China. We think that we need to encourage China to play a positive role at the global level and to defend the UN Charter and to defend the sovereignty of Ukraine. And one example is interesting. A few weeks ago, a meeting took place in Saudi Arabia with more than 40 countries represented. A meeting with one topic, the Just Peace Formula, initiated by President Zelensky. It is showing that there are mixed realities. There are votes at the UN level, and we are doing a lot to have broad majorities to support Ukraine. There are statements made, sometimes made statements by some members of the international community, not China necessarily, but other countries, and some statements that we do not like because this is not in line with the UN Charter in our opinion. But there are also some initiatives that are showing that things are moving. And final point, this final communique, again, I don't know if this is possible or not to have an agreement on the final communique. We will see, but we will defend our principles, and we will also support the efforts made by India.
Considering the European Union, US and Western countries' hard position on Ukraine, which has resulted into sanctions on Russia and leading to high costs of food and energy for billions and billions of people in the developing world, particularly in the South Asia and Africa, which have pushed people into poverty as well. So what should people in this world expect after this G20 any relief from this summit?
First, I sincerely hope that this G20 meeting is one more occasion to make the clarity about the Russian behavior. to make the clarity about Russian behavior. Why? Because by launching this war against Ukraine and by transforming the Black Sea in a battlefield, in fact, Russia is shooting again a foot missile against the developing countries. And this is scandalous, in my opinion. This is very cynical, in my opinion. On the one hand, Russia decided to terminate this Black Sea Grain Initiative, which brought more than 30 million tons of grains, especially in the developing countries. On the other hand, the EU, what we are doing is trying to develop alternative routes, what we call the solidarity lanes, to succeed, to bring food, to bring grains to the rest of the world, especially to the developing countries. And I sincerely hope that this meeting is one more occasion for everyone to see the reality, to see the cynical approach by Russia, which is putting into difficulties, more difficulties, the most vulnerable